Welcome to Pomozi's Inspirational Women of Portsmouth podcast. I am Shamila Dhana, co-founder of Portsmouth City of Sanctuary. Pomozi means together, and we bring together Portsmouth and the surrounding areas, celebrating the women who positively impact their tribe and contribute to their community. We hope you enjoy the series of podcasts which introduces some of the nominees and sponsors to this year's event. On today's podcast, we're joined by Joanne Austin and Claire Odd. Jo, you've been nominated, and this is what the person nominating you has said. Jo fosters children with complex emotional needs, which in itself is a wonderful thing to do. She has made many children through her home and has given these children a safe environment to grow and develop. I am sure at times it's difficult, but she's always so positive and enthusiastic. I think this work that she does is nothing short of inspirational. Welcome to the podcast, Jo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And Claire, congratulations for being nominated. The person nominating you has said, Claire is simply a wonderful, warm person who always has one of the biggest smiles in the room. Despite her being a client of mine, she never fails to inspire me to persevere through my own business challenges, as well as giving me priceless advice on personal health issues. She's always checking in to see how I am doing, and I'm drinking enough, and that I'm taking regular breaks. A testament to just how thoughtful and caring she is as a person. Welcome to the podcast, Claire. I feel like everybody needs a Claire in their life to check up on them.
They do. Thank you for having me.
So we'll start off with you, Jo, and please tell us a little bit about the work you're doing in terms of fostering, what inspired you to foster children, if it was personal experience or something else.
Yeah, so it was personal experience that inspired me to foster, and it was actually my adult son and my daughters, but my son in particular, he's got autism, ADHD and learning difficulties, and his journey was a challenge, but he inspired me because he's done so well in life. He's a daddy, he drives, he's got a great job, so he's done really well, and I couldn't have any more children of my own. I do have endometriosis, which is a charity, isn't it, that we're supporting, and so I had a hysterectomy very young.
Yes.
So I couldn't have any more children, and I know I'm very lucky to have the 3 I have, but I wanted more.
Amazing.
And I couldn't have any more. So as my children got older, I did think, well, do you know what, I have a nursing background as well, and I'd worked for MenCap as a young adult, and I thought I could give other children an opportunity that perhaps didn't have as good a start in early life as my son did, and give, offer a nurturing, warm, safe home to children like him. So I foster children with complex additional needs. Most of the time. I do foster mums and babies sometimes too, but mostly it's children with complex additional needs, and that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Amazing. And tell me about the books you've written.
Oh yes, so the books, again, like the inspiration for writing the books, the first book was my son, and is the story of my journey with my son. It's called Walking with Love and Autism. And it's just about raising a child with additional needs in today's modern society, and the highs and the lows, the challenges, the good bits. But because he did so well in adult life, I wanted to share that with other people, to give hope to parents and families who might be struggling with a similar child. It doesn't have to be autism, any additional needs, just wanted to give a little bit of inspiration and hope to other people. He is an inspiration, my son. I think he is. He's my motivation. Him and my daughters are my motivation for everything I do. It's all for them.
That's lovely.
And then the second book is my journey. As a young mum, I was severely ill with mental health illness.
Yes.
I had postnatal depression, which wasn't treated properly initially. So I was in and out of Portsmouth hospitals for 2 years.
Yes.
Before I went to a wonderful hospital in London, the Maudsley Hospital. In the year 2000, I went there. I call that my new millennium, actually, because that was the start of my healing journey.
Yes.
And so 24 years I've been in complete recovery, and I've achieved so much since, and I love the things I do. So I wanted to share that too and give hope to people and really advocate for people with mental health issues to, get help, because there is support out there. It is hard to come by, but when you get the right help, you can do so much more and so much better. I was in a very, very dark place, but I've recovered and I've done well, and I love the things that I do. So, that's
true
the books.
inspiration.
Thank you.
I'll just touch on some of the stuff that was said about Claire and how you check up on your friends or your colleagues. And we all need that because we're living in a world where mental health is real.
Massively.
And the stigma is there. I remember, so I'm originally from Zimbabwe, and my grandma used to say, there's nothing to cry about. Stop crying about. So you always think that your feelings are not valid, or you need to have the strong persona, and that's why I said we all need a Claire in our life. So tell us a bit more about what you do and how you harness this ability to care for people. And by the way, for all our listeners, Claire does have an amazing smile. You can't see it, but it is pretty awesome.
I first became a therapist probably about 25 years ago. And at the time, training for therapists wasn't the best. They didn't teach you about how to look after yourself, how to hold your own space.
Interesting.
So I got burnt out very quickly, and I went off to go and work in the dark corporate world. And I had a fabulous corporate career, but what I didn't really realise was that I was a huge empath, taking on lots of people's other energy. Didn't really know how to be a leader as an empath.
Yes.
And I worked in a very male-dominated environment where to get by you had to be very big and very bold. And things happened around my 40th birthday, which kind of changed my whole outlook on life. And I was like, actually, do you know what? I don't need to be that person. That's not me being my authentic self.
Yes, I love it.
And I went back to work and I had a bit of an epiphany, and I was like, yeah, do you know what? This isn't for me anymore.
Wow, amazing. That's so empowering, right?
There's a lot of backstory that goes into that moment, but we're not going to cover that today. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to go back to what my true calling was, which was being a therapist. And I was like, oh my days, I feel so much happier in myself.
Yes.
Because actually I can be my own me, the me that I'm meant to be.
Yes.
I don't have to try and be something I'm not.
Yes, and I just want to encourage, sorry to cut you off, our listeners about the power of being your true authentic self. So before we started this podcast, Jo and I were talking about how busy she is, and I said to her, she's able to do that because she has passion. And passion will make you just, in 24 hours, you can do 100 tasks. And people say, how do you do it? It's because you're doing what you're called to do. And I truly believe that.
Totally. So I'm doing completely what I was called to do, which is looking after principally women, recovering from surgery, helping them with their menopausal transitions, so that they don't go through some of the horrible things that I went through.
Yes.
Just helping people, find their body love,
Yes.
find their self-confidence again,
Yes.
and the confidence to be able to move, but also the confidence to be able to wear the sexy knickers that we all put away once we've had children
Yes.
or we've had surgery and we don't really like how our body feels.
Yes.
So it's about finding all of that confidence and that self-love and go,
Yes.
have it back. It's
And
yours.
that's a
own
real
it.
thing, right?
It's totally
it's a real
a real
thing. After you have a child, and you think, oh God, I can't wear that stuff
I
anymore.
can't wear my sexy knickers anymore. Totally, you can.
Yes, yes.
Quite often there's reasons behind kind of C-section scars and things like that,
Yes.
being sensitive, but there's a whole world of beautiful work we can do.
Yes.
So actually you can wear your sexy knickers again, and it's
Yes.
really important that you do.
Yes, yes. And also in honouring your body, thinking, gosh, my body's done that. It's
Totally.
It's had a child. I thought that because my child was born 2 weeks before lockdown. So lucky for me, I didn't struggle with postnatal depression. But I did think to myself, oh, my body's awful. But I reached a turning point in like 3 or 4 weeks after he was born. And I realized that the more I breastfed him, he grew. I know it sounds silly, but I was like, I'm awesome. Like,
Totally.
he's growing just based off what my body's
Yeah.
feeding him. And instead of me telling my body, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that, I can't wear the sexy knickers, I was like, no, Shamila, you amazing.
Totally.
You like your son is growing in front of you, and that's because of what you're giving him. Yeah, and I truly believe in that.
It's amazing.
It's-
amazing.
yeah.
Body's a very fascinating thing, isn't it?
Yeah, bodies are fascinating.
Little miracles.
Yeah,
All of those children, little
yeah,
miracles.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Well, you're inspiring, Claire.
Thank you.
And how long have you? So you said how long have you then gone back to being a therapist?
So I was juggling a part-time job and my therapy business, a Restoring Balance,
Yes.
for like 4 years, and then last year I went full-time into my business, Restoring Balance. And then
Amazing.
that's my whole life.
And is that business based in Portsmouth?
So I'm based on Hailing Island, so
Okay.
don't judge me. But I do everything I do in my own clinic. I can replicate using Zoom.
Yes.
So everything I do literally in person, we can do over the internet together.
Yes.
And it's just as awesome, if not sometimes slightly more awesome.
Amazing. And can people self-refer or?
Yeah, so literally you can just message me and you can just book in. We can have a chat just to see whether we can work together well, whether our energies vibe. Because some of the work we do is quite personal.
Yes.
And you need to feel safe and comfortable with that person.
Yes.
And if I'm not your person, that's okay. I probably know somebody that is your person.
Yes, that's amazing.
But to find that person that you feel safe with, that
Yes.
your energy works with, is really, really important.
Yes, yeah, it is important. Gosh, Portsmouth has amazing women. Every year I think, will we find more? And we do. They're just hidden around the city and, scattered like little gems. And every time I get to do the podcast, it's so inspiring to learn what all the amazing women are doing in the city. Joe, I'm going to ask you about mental health, and
Yeah.
we may have listeners, young
Yeah.
mums. Please, can you give them advice? Because I think you're a wealth of wisdom.
Well, unlike you, yes, I did have postnatal depression after my
Yes.
third child was born, and it wasn't treated right initially, so it progressed onto the severe obsessive compulsive disorder. But I actually class myself as one of the lucky ones.
Yes.
I think the NHS states that it's 1 in 10 mums will suffer from postnatal depression. Now, I consider myself lucky because although it was such a long time till I
Yes.
got to the right place for my healing journey to start,
Yes.
some people never get there. They don't find the right support. So I would urge people to stop thinking about this awful stigma. There is a stigma attached to mental health illness, and there shouldn't be.
Yes.
We talked earlier, didn't we? The brain is an organ like any other organ of the body, and it's capable of going a bit wrong.
Yes.
You wouldn't punish someone if they broke an arm or they had diabetes. So
Yeah, I like that
we
analogy.
shouldn't. Yeah, so we shouldn't have this stigma attached to when something goes wrong in our brains, and yet there is a huge stigma attached. So I would urge mums to be brave and
Yes.
to reach out and to speak out and to ask for help, because when
Yes.
I did that, the support did come. I mean, it is actually, I think, braver to say I'm struggling and I need help
Yes.
than to not and to suffer for longer and longer. Ultimately, for me, the drive was those children. I want to get better for my children. That
Yes.
tug of love, that pull to my children was
Yes.
why I wanted to get better. So, mums, please, if you're suffering, reach out and ask for
Yes.
help.
And also, there's power in knowing that you're not the only one. Because I remember when I had depression, this was like 10 years ago, I thought I'm the only one that feels like that.
Yes.
And actually, you realize that there's a whole community out there, and there shouldn't be shame about feeling sad or feeling suicidal or feeling, waking up with a low mood. Yeah. Someone else has that, could have been experiencing that, and we should draw on the experiences of others.
That's right, and that's why I wrote my second book, was to share my experience. It is a memoir, and it shares my whole experience of how and why I became so ill, and what that illness was really like, really actually into the deepest, darkest moments of despair.
Yes.
I was suicidal. I'm not ashamed now to admit that. At the time I was.
Yes.
I was very ashamed, and it took a great few years to get over that shame. But it didn't matter at the time, because I didn't like the person I was anyway, because my earlier life narrative had fed that I was a bad person anyway.
Yes.
But once I got better and I started to realise you shouldn't be ashamed.
Yeah.
Your brain got poorly, you've got better. What is there to be ashamed of?
Exactly.
And the things I've achieved since. So I want to share that with other people, that, you know, let's get out there, let's get some help, let's help these people. It's, you know, it shouldn't be a taboo, deep, dark subject, you know, we should be able to speak. And that's why I'm passionate now about let's speak openly about it. Let's not be ashamed. I'm not ashamed now, look at me. I'm happy. I've got purple hair, I've got tattoos, things that I wouldn't have done years back because I didn't like myself. Once I got better and I started to think, actually, do you know what, I'm not a bad person.
Yes.
That was the wrong narrative, and I changed my narrative with the help of the therapists I had at the hospitals. I got so much better, and I'm still not as confident as I'd like to be coming here to do things like this. You know, I have my little panic beforehand, but I still, sometimes it's the big kids at home who push me out the door, come on, when you can do this.
Yes.
Because I am passionate that we should speak out. We shouldn't let it be a secret. It shouldn't be hidden in the closet. These things happen. They happen to so many people. 1 in 10 mums, I think it's 1 in 4 people, the NHS say generally, will be affected by some kind of mental health illness. That's massive.
That's
massive, isn't it? Huge. So please, let's not be ashamed. Let's be passionate about speaking up. This is what happened to me. Yes, it wasn't nice, but I got better. And now, look, I'm happy, I'm content, I'm doing lots of fun things.
Amazing. And for our listeners, where can they purchase your books?
So my books can be bought from Amazon Books. They can be bought from the original book publishers, which is Silverwood Books.
Yes.
And they can be bought through the Portsmouth Authors Collective, which is a group of authors in Portsmouth who meet together, from their website, and from the market stalls that we sometimes do. We sometimes do the Love Southsea markets too. And from my own website, which is authorjoaustin.com.
Amazing. Powerhouse. She's a powerhouse, Claire. And can we find you, Claire, on social media, website? We can, later on, I will make sure that the Pamosi administrator puts the details when we load up the podcast, or if we put anything on socials, we can tag you as well.
So you can find me on Facebook, Insta, even TikTok. Although there's not much activity on my TikTok, I do need to get better at that. Or on my website, restoreandbalance.co.uk.
Amazing.
And you'll know you've got the right Restore and Balance because it's very green and purple.
Okay.
And talks lots about women's health.
Amazing. Are you on TikTok, Joe? You were laughing when she said
I am
TikTok.
on TikTok, but like Claire, that's quite a new one for me. I am on there, and there are quite a few videos on there now, but they're not me. They are my camper van, actually. There's more of the camper van, which is one of my businesses.
Amazing.
But that's a work in progress. I think by the sounds of it, Claire's at the same stage as me.
Yeah, I am as well.
It's very new, and we're embracing all this technology too,
We're
you know?
embracing it, yes.
So why not? Let's go for it. But yes, I am on TikTok, sort of.
Amazing. Well, thank you for coming along today. Congratulations again on being nominated and being part of this big tribe of women.
Yeah.
And hopefully see you at the award ceremony. It will be good.
Lovely.
Have you been? Did you go last year?
I didn't go last year, no.
It was really good.
I've never been, so
It's
this
really
is all
glamorous. Really glamorous. Yeah, they really, they really understand that we should be celebrating all women. And you've got young girls dancing and singing, all ages. It's just amazing. So hopefully see you there. And
Brilliant,
thank you for
yes.
coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.